Who is a music minister?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I went on a little hiatus, but hey, let's get this channel rolling again, shall we? Today we are diving into a really thought-provoking topic that has been creating quite a stir in the Christian community, and honestly, it's catching some waves in the secular world as well. We're talking about Pastor Timi Lazarus' recent remarks on gospel musicians, or you could say gospel ministers, charging for their services. Let's get into it. So Pastor Timi Lazarus, based in Lagos, Nigeria, has been making some bold statements about what he calls the growing trend of gospel musicians charging for their services during church ministrations. Now, during a sermon, Pastor Lazarus expressed his concern, emphasizing that the true purpose of ministry is to glorify God, not to pursue profit. He argued that it is unreasonable for individuals who identify as gospel ministers charging for their ministration. Take a listen.
Any music minister you can't trace to a church to see a pastor where the fellow is primarily learning doctrine that is seated on a Sunday morning now, like all believers, is an artist. A music minister is one who does music as ministry. So what is ministry? Ministry is service. One who does music primarily as a calling.
That's why what we call many of the worship meetings in Africa, in Nigeria, has become performance. Somebody has charged 5 million to come here to sing. He will do drama. He will roll on the floor. He will cry. He's doing his business.
Now, on one hand, some people argue that charging for ministry is justified, especially when it comes to covering expenses like travel, sound equipment, paying crew members, and all the other logistics involved. Now, one such person who has been openly rebuffing Pastor Lazarus' comment is Timi Dakolo. He needs no introduction. He said that music ministers put in a lot of work to perfect their craft. For some, it's not just a calling, it's their livelihood. He said, quote, "My dear Christians, a quote, conversation can sound intelligent and deep, yet untrue. Just like everyone else, you deserve the very best things life has to offer. You should be paid what you deserve. Studio session, production, and promotion cost a lot. You have a family to feed. You have rent to pay. You have more songs to put out. You should stop all this attack on people's work. As much as it's spiritual, music is an art. If you can't pay people, use your choir members and pay the amount you could have given the guest artist." I doubt the second part. This gaslighting has to stop. Gospel ministers want good things too. They are not beggars. The best of architects are called upon to build big church, large sum of money disbursed for promoting big programs and all. No one should diminish another person's ministry. Ministry needs music and music needs ministry. It takes at least 10 years and chains of hours to be an elite musician. Develop your musicians and singers in your church and pay them well. Leave all this belittling alone. None of these people saying this will fly economy and travel alone to save money for the ministry that invites to preach. All this was said in love. End of quotes. What a word from Timi Dakolo. But Pastor Lazarus thinks differently. He argues that when the focus shifts to money, it can lead to a change in the hearts of ministry, from selfless service to performance driven by profit.
That's why what we call many of the worship meetings in Africa, in Nigeria, has become performance. Somebody has charged 5 million to come here to sing. He will do drama. He will roll on the floor. He will cry. He's doing his business.
Timi Dakolo, who identifies as simply a Christian that was raised in church but not a gospel artist, went further to accuse Pastor Lazarus of charging for his school of ministry. He wrote on his social media account, quote, "I'm not a gospel artist, but a Christian raised in church. Let's not shift the goalposts. By your definition, if anyone charges to minister, they are not gospel artists, they are performers. And by that definition, if any preacher charges to teach and minister, they are merchants of hope and motivational speakers and performers too. Sir, you are charging as low as $150 per person for your school of ministry, teaching and preaching Jesus, probably having as much as 1,000 students. Let's do the maths. You even have premium and standard for God house. Are you not selling the gift and revelation freely given to you? Again, let's not keep shifting the goalposts. Now, it doesn't end there. A commenter had this to say, "Timi, it seems we are getting things mixed up here. As much as I share your POV about the music production, I feel an urge to point out one or two things about what AFL is trying to say, that Apostle Femi Lazarus is trying to say. Firstly, ministering is different from producing music. These gospel ministers are invited to church to minister and not to produce music there. When a pastor is invited for a ministration, their accommodation, feeding, and probably transportation is handled by the hosts and then offered honorarium after ministration. I feel the same should apply to the so-called gospel ministers too. For their songs production, on the other hand, your argument stands. You can never see Pastor Nathaniel and Doomsy charge for their ministrations. However, they accept honorarium if offered, of which I expect every reasonable host to do so respectfully. If the gospel ministers are then booked outside the church, then they can freely charge whatsoever they want. As for the school arguments, that's why it's called school. Timi, there are expenses put in place for teaching to occur, and all over the world, there is no place where teaching is absolutely free, unless covered one way or the other. Your fight is for a good cause, but should be directed towards music production for gospel artists and not music ministers. So here is the $1,000,000 question. If gospel ministers don't charge, how are they supposed to sustain their livelihood? And let's flip the script a bit. If Pastor Lazarus can charge for a ministry school aimed at teaching God's word, why shouldn't gospel ministers charge for ministrations aimed at glorifying God through music? Or is the issue about the money being charged? Take a look.
I want the media to project an invoice, I don't know what to call it, of a music minister in Nigeria. This is the invoice. So this is it. Let me read what is there. Minister will be accompanied with a minimum of 40 persons. They will all return the day after the event. All right, 4 male members, travel arrangement. Flights will be booked for both the outbound and return journeys. Artists will fly first class compulsory. Team will fly economy. Hotel reservation must be covered by the church. Executive suites for the minister. 2 executive rooms for the 4 males. Meal must be provided for minister and the accompanying person. Preference will be given to Nigerian cuisine. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Honorarium, listen, $10,000. Mode of payment, a non-refundable 50% payment has to be made before we can have this event on our calendar. The balance of 50% must be made 2 days before the event. Thank you. May God bless you. The mistake on that stuff is the word honorarium used. Just tell them the price. And I said it. And I said it again. When they pay you this kind of money, you have to act drama to justify the amount paid. You will roll on the floor. You will scream. You will shout. But those who know God knows He's not there.
What do you think about Pastor Lazarus' stance on this issue? Should music ministers be expected to perform purely for ministry and not ask for money for the time and effort they put in? Or do you think there's a way to strike a balance between fair compensation and maintaining the art of ministry? I know this is a complex issue and there's no easy answer, but we need to talk about it. So let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Conversations with Timi.